What makes you happy? For most people, they'd go with the answer of spending time with their family or friends. But would you be as content with your life if you didn't have the material things that you do? When people think of developing countries, there's an overarching theme of pity. When asked about my summer study abroad trip to Ghana, most people began the conversation by asking me what my service was like. This felt really strange to me. I guess it was coming back from a place where I'd been given so much, to return home and feel that all I was doing was saying how I'd help people there. This confliction didn't just begin when I got home, but started during conversations with my friends and service leaders in Ghana. We were confronted about taking pictures with the kids, as to be respectful that they were simply living their lives and earning an education, not there as spectacles to be displayed over the internet. Once explained, it seemed so obvious. No one would like to be gawked at while simply living their lives, and happily for that matter. There's a paradox when it comes to service. On one hand, I've been told that it should be completely selfless, and act purely for assisting others. While participating in service in another country, however, I was faced with the dilemma of the white savior complex, which is a pattern throughout history showing how privileged individuals often take advantage of service opportunities in order to say that they have saved people who are conventionally less privileged and seemingly unhappy with their lives. I even questioned my choice to do service a few times, wondering if my presence there was unconsciously selfish. Did the teachers even want my help, and was I making a difference in the children's lives? When it came to discussing the white savior complex, my peers and I had to be much more critical about previous notions we had of community service. It was kind of a complicated thing to wrap my mind around, because previously I'd been so focused on volunteering for the sake of earning some service hours. But when it came to actually teaching kids in a foreign country, it was a completely different story. Being thrown into many conversations about white privilege and the true motives behind community service was uncomfortable, but necessary for me to better understand other cultures. The country did not change while I was there, but my perspective on it changed completely over 3 weeks. When I first arrived, I saw a place that was underdeveloped, unorganized, and dirty. But as time went on and I spent days in the city or in the school outside of Accra, the seemingly unattractive parts of the country diminished and its beauty overpowered. We found beauty in the most backwards ways, like at the Cape Coast Castle, a breathtaking structure with a view of the ocean and a horribly ugly history of slave trade hidden beneath its staircases. What I came to realize was that beauty is all about perspective. It's not nearly as black and white as it's made out to be. I often feel that material things are excessive and frankly occupy too much of our attention. Besides benefits to health and education, technology has rapidly altered human connection. Recently, I was on a college tour, and when the tour guide left our group for a few minutes, every single kid pulled out their iPhone. No one talked, no one introduced themselves, and it wasn't until later that day, while forced to face each other at a table, were we brave enough to make conversation. I began thinking how rare this was to happen in Ghana after a class, with dozens of kids bouncing around the courtyard. Unafraid to take my hand, a young girl who I'd never met before led me to her friends and taught me a game. Even when speaking to adults, the conversations were never inhibited by technology or the urge to pull out a cell phone. This wasn't even a matter of wealth and being able to have phones, but rather a difference in values and ways of interaction. What defines happiness? That is on some level individual opinion, but assumptions made about underprivileged communities play a part in how we compare contentment in our lives. I may never be able to know what it's like to be in someone else's shoes, but I can at least work towards recognizing the beauty in our differences. And I hope that when you look at an image like this, you can see that there's much more to it than what meets the eye. Thank you.